If you're planning on buying any cards from TCG Player, make sure you use our affiliate link right here in the description of our video to help support the channel. It's the best way to do it and it's free. And if you need any code cards, make sure you check out Potown Store for automatic email delivery and use code Tablemon for 5% off all your purchases. If you're from Europe, mealybotsgaming.com is a great option to get your cards from. They have all sorts of sealed products, merchandise, and all the sets available from Pokemon Sun and Moon upwards, including the latest Hidden Fate set. Don't forget to use Tablemon code when checking out to get a further 5% off from your final purchase. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG Worlds 2020. Thank you so much for watching. We just had a couple of regionals this weekend plus a special event in Brazil. The regionals were in Germany and the United States respectively, and both of the regionals were won by Mewtwo and Mew. Tord Reklev won in Germany, Azul Garcia Griego won in Atlantic City, New Jersey, I believe. So yeah, no surprise, right, that Mewtwo and Mew is still taking over events after its Worlds win. It generally is a pretty good deck, and it's literally any good attack that is out there, you can just chuck it into a deck and figure out a way to use it. And Tord went a step further and added in a 2/2 tech line of Shedinja into the deck. Now, you might be wondering why Shedinja? Well, the ability Vessel of Life. Once you're in your turn before you attack, you may discard all cards attached to this Pokemon and attach it to one of your Pokemon as a Pokemon tool card. When the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out, your opponent takes one fewer prize card. That means that your Mewtwo and Mew tag team, instead of giving away 3 prizes, it only gives away 2. Therefore, your opponent has to go through 3 Mewtwo and Mews in order to be able to win the game. Or 3 Pokemon total, right? Before, if you don't have Shedinja, or if you're not running Shedinja, then you only need to KO 2 Mewtwo's and that is the game. However, by having the 2/2 line of Shedinja, you actually don't rely or you don't have to worry about that. And you do have 2 Shedinjas, but generally you only have 1, so that's why the 2/2 line is enough. You don't need more than 1 Shedinja in one game, because as long as you force your opponent to go through the Mewtwo and Mew that has the Shedinja attached, that means they still need to knock out 2 more Pokemon, right? It can be another Mewtwo and Mew and possibly a Dedenne, possibly a Reshizzard, possibly another Mewtwo, but overall it just forces your opponent to take a few extra prizes in order to win the game. Essentially, you make them play always a 7 or 8 prize game, and that's always pretty good, right? Because taking 6 prizes since tag teams came out, you can KO 2 of them pretty straightforward, and that's what most decks are built around. But if you force your opponent to take 3 of them, then it starts to get very complicated. Now, the rest of the deck is pretty standard, I would say. No special surprise attackers. There are 4 Dedenne and 2 Solgaleo, so maxing out consistency that way, as we see right here. However, in the supporter lineup, instead of Pokegears or Acrobikes or both, the deck is actually running the 4 Welder, but 2 Reds Challenge, which allows you to discard 2 cards and you search your deck for any card and you put it into your hand. And you also have the double Hapu, which allows you to look at the top 6 cards, choose 2 of them, put them into your hand, and then you get to discard the rest. Now, there aren't any important things like custom catchers in this list, potions, etc. The most important cards are probably the weakness card energies and the reset stamps, along with perhaps the Shedinja pieces. Everything else, any other Pokemon that you see, can definitely go into a discard pile. The one-off switch is something that definitely has me a little worried in regards to this list, purely because Pikarom is definitely a big threat, and just the one switch is not very good defense against the paralysis. So that's one thing that I see as a problem for this deck. I also think this deck has a really weak Blacephalon matchup, purely because there's no Tapu Fini. With a 4 Pokemon communication, there might be some merit to playing the Tapu Fini, but mainly, like, you trade very badly against Blacephalon, and even though you do have the Shedinjas, they can still KO one Mewtwo with a Shedinja, another Mewtwo, and then simply burst GX per game. So that's something that would have me a little bit worried here. Double Ice Center Labs plus the Detective Pikachu Greninja GX plus the Water Energy gives you a lot of defense to bypass effects like the Psychic Fairy Charms. You also don't activate spell tags. By having 5 stadiums and the Marshadow, you're definitely less weak to power plant plays. And by having the Weak Guard's Energy, this is a card that not a lot of people recognize on stream and were definitely asking a lot about. They were asking about it being a water energy, they were asking about it being a tool card, but in fact, it takes away weakness, and it's a pretty good inclusion because Malamar has been adapting to try and beat Mew Mew by adding power plants to its deck. However, and like power plants shut off Jirachi GX's ability, which removes Mewtwo and Mew's weakness, but by having weakness card energy, only you get the benefit of not having weakness, not your opponent, and that means you are definitely able to take advantage of that and not be in a bad situation where your opponent plays down a power plant and uses a psychic type attacker to attack into you. So yeah, that's the explanation of the deck. Let's play a match or two with it so that you guys can see it in action. Once again, huge props and huge congrats to Tord Reckless for the list. As of making this video, I apologize for the background noise. As of making this video, Azul won the regional like an hour ago, maybe less. So there isn't a list available to figure out and see what he played, if he has any cool text like this. Maybe he worked with Tord on the deck. No one really knows, but yeah. Ooh, now we're up against PG Control. So funnily enough, this was the final matchup in both of the regionals. Both regionals featured a Mewtwo and Mew Perfection deck build against a Pidgeotto Control deck build. So very, very funny coincidence that we actually get to play against this match in particular. So I guess you guys get to watch another version of the finals. Hopefully I get to play this properly here. I feel like this deck should definitely be very, very favored purely because you do have the double Solgaleo GX, so that means you are not going to be struggling with Girafarig eliminating your Solgaleo. You are not going to be struggling with recovering energies. You just have to be very careful with what Pokemon you end up benching, but that shouldn't be a problem. The 10 GXs which end up being benched only have a one-off retreat cost. We do have our one-off switch. We can search for it with the red challenge. There's a double PG and a Pidgeotto off of the Professor Elm's lecture. With the current hand that I have, it's not looking like I will be able to get a turn 1 attack off unless I top deck another fire. But we shall see. Yeah, we shall see. If I don't top deck another fire or a giant hearth, I would have to find my switch off of this. Otherwise, I can also play it like slow and steady wins the race. That turn 1 power plant is definitely annoying. The risk challenge is pretty okay, I would say. Okay, so we're definitely not getting an attack off here, right? We are not going to get an attack off on this first turn. Just trying to think if it's worth it to use the risk challenge right now. I feel like it is not. I'm gonna go ahead and Welder. I will grab the Mewtwo and Mew, and the Shedinjas don't matter, of course. The key card is this Espion Deoxys, along with the Solgaleos. One Solgaleo is indeed prized, so that could be the real problem here. That could actually be the real problem. Now, do I cherish Res Challenge for a giant hearth? No, I don't think so. I'm just gonna go ahead and welder for 1. I think that is okay. It's not the best, not the worst. I do find another weak card energy. I also get to find a giant hearth, which is really nice. And do I want to Dedenne? Do I want to Dedenne change here? I don't believe I want to. I think I'm okay just taking it slow here for a turn. I don't mind taking the first few KOs with the Mewtwo, powering up a bench Mewtwo, and afterwards playing into the Espeon Antiox's sweep, hopefully. This attack does 10 damage plus 10 more damage, so our Nincada is at no risk of getting KO'd. If we also find the Shedinja, then I don't have to find a switching card, so starting Nincada is actually pretty decent, pretty nice. That might end up being what I search for with the Red's challenge here. I thought about playing the reset stamp to eliminate the Pidgeotos from my opponent's hand. Well, the Pidgeotto, he had 1, but didn't feel worth it. If I'm gonna Dedenne change though, then I will definitely use it next turn. So we shall see. We shall see what happens. I think I'm in an okay spot. There's no rush. The double elm start is definitely the dream for that particular deck. I have to be very aware of the threat of Articuno GX. Even if 1 is in the discard pile, the deck usually plays 2. And we're going to see the Acrobike. The 6 stadiums will definitely help though. Well, 5 stadiums and the counter stadium. We see the first crushing hammer of the game. There's the heads flip. Eliminates the fire, which I don't particularly agree because if I'm going to be focusing on Solgaleo, then I can recover basic energies. So I feel like discarding the special energy might have been stronger. Second Articuno is in the discard pile, so that means we don't have to worry about it immediately, which is great, right? And now here I am definitely thinking of using Red's challenge for a Dedenne now instead. It's just I'm gonna need to find a Pokegum or a Shedinja to be able to retreat an attack because of that head flip, which is kind of annoying. We top deck our 3rd weak card energy. So what's more difficult, finding a Shedinja or finding the Solgaleo? I reckon finding the Solgaleo, purely because I have double Shedinja and I have 4 Pokegums. Whereas if I were to search for Dedenne with the Solgaleo, and then, Dedenne with the Cherish Ball and then Red's challenge for the Nincada, I would need to not only find the Solgaleo, but a way to discard it. And I think that's the tough part about this hand. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to Giant Hearth. We are going to go ahead and Red's challenge. And go ahead and grab the Dedenne, which is pretty good. And then I will go ahead and attach this. So let me read the log. What did my opponent do last turn? I believe he has a... We don't know anything other than he might have a Pidgeotto in his hand. So... He's played Double Elm so far. I'm just going to Dedenne change. Right now my opponent I think has 5 random cards and a Pidgeotto. Without this he has 6 random cards and a Pidgeotto. I actually do not find what I need really. This is not great at all. And I'm just gonna have to pass here, unfortunately. Wow. So that was not great. That was a pretty terrible Dedenne change. 1 Pokegum or a Nincada would have been fine. That was pretty sad, and not finding a follow-up supporter is also potentially really bad here for us. So this might be a very rough start here for us. A very rough start. Like, the fact that I whiffed the turn 1 attack, you expect that. But whiffing the turn 2 attack, yikes. And now, can my opponent go average on Crushing Hammer flips? So far, so good. We see the Oranguru. We see the retreat into the Oranguru. There's the Recycle Energy as well. So pretty solid hand for my opponent. I imagine the Double Crushing and the Power Plant are the cards that are going back into the deck. That's what I imagine is going to happen right here. I'm not super happy about discarding all these energies. It's not like I have much of a choice. Thankfully, it's looking like no Power Plant this turn. Ooh, my opponent goes ahead and plays a Brock's Crit, so puts back 3, and now he's definitely free to put back the Crushing Hammer and the Power Plant. All of them very crucial cards. Especially the Articunos. Especially the Articuno is especially scary for this deck. So there we see the Crushing, the Power Plant, and a Pokegear instead of the second Crushing Hammer. Ah, so we were one card off. So we were actually one card off of just being able to retreat this silly Ninkata. So do I even want the Shedinja once again? I feel like I do. It's just as hard to find a Shedinja as it is a Mewtwo off of a Pokégon, but I also have double Cherish Bolt, so that can help me in regards to evolving the next Mewtwo. I'm not gonna attach. Just gonna go ahead and Data Change. And there are the Mewtwo's. I also find a Red's Challenge, which is pretty solid. I'll go ahead and use Vessel of Life, attach it to the Mewtwo, get the free retreat. No prize for my opponent, of course, and then we'll go ahead and bench this guy. Probably... Do I Red's Challenge right now? Feel like I don't. Definitely think I attach. It's just, I mean, these two cards I don't mind, but what am I Red's challenging for? A Hapu for next turn? If I get Power Planted, I'm in trouble. Yeah, I don't think I'm using it. I mean, I guess I can Giant Hearth though. Just to get the energies out of the deck and start having them in my hand. I feel like the switch is way too important to consider getting rid of here. So I'm not gonna get rid of that. And I will start preparing this Mewtwo Mew though. That's the cool part. And now I'm pretty immune to Crushing Hammers as of now. That is a very nice card to get off of the prizes. Very nice card to get off the prizes for sure. And we'll just have to see. These weak guard energies look pretty nice. Right, so there's the Pidgeotto. There is the Pidgeotto. My opponent's really big hand. It's also starting to look very scary, but there's really nothing I can do about that in particular. I can potentially start threatening the Espeon and Deoxys soon enough. And then what's the worst that can happen? My opponent goes double Custom Catcher, bring up the benched Mewtwo and Mew, and then uses Articuno GX to knock me out. Well, not to knock me out, to eliminate all my energies, right? Combined with a reset stamp. That would be the worst problem. That would actually be the worst problem here. So we see the Surge. We see a Crushing Hammer. Tails, that's really good. Now that's 1 for 3 for my opponent, so you would expect the next one to be a Head Slip. Right? That's what you would expect. There's the Oranguru. Seems like this Pidgey is gonna be sacrificed to the Mewtwo and Mew. that about it? Is he the recycle energy? Is he gonna retreat into the Angru? That would make no sense. Maybe he's just attaching it in case I go reset stamp. Yeah. That makes sense. Ooh. Well, that's nice. That means I could actually get 3 prize cards this turn if I decided to go for it. And I'm... I mean, I do need to find a Psychic and Thespian Deoxys to pull it off, and then I'm at risk of getting Articunoed. These are not the cards that I need, however. So I kinda like attaching the water to the active. I'm gonna get another fire to the benched Mewtwo, right? Another 2 fires, wow. So... Alright, so let's think about possible reset stamps. Cards I do not want to draw. Probably another Mewtwo. Probably definitely another Mewtwo. And then I don't mind, there's no drawback to benching Latios other than not having space for a Dedenne. Don't see myself playing down all 4 Dedennes, however. So, I mean, there's no... Is there anything wrong with using Turbo Strike on the Mewtwo? I guess not. It makes me immune to... I could have switched and then had 5 energies on both of them. That seems like a big stretch, though. It seems like a big stretch. The Charizard, not very useful. Definitely not very useful. And then the Reds, that's the thing though. Reds can't get me both the Psychic and the Espion. Maybe I should have kept the Latios in my hand in case I top deck Pokegum. There's an argument for that. The opponent immediately plays down or promotes Oranguru, of course, right? As expected. I mean, the game might just come down to if I can pull off the Espion Deoxys next turn, which I should try to pull it up. I get a reset stamp from 5 to 4, not a big deal. If I can pull off the Mewtwo and Mew attack, then I'm gonna be in an okay-ish spot. And this Mars could be problematic if it hits my Stadium. Hits the Espion Deoxys, completely okay by that. Unless we saw a Girafarig play, but now that my opponent has attached to Oranguru, we are safe from that. So it's looking pretty good. Okay, so my opponent will choose the Articuno now, to use the Articuno now. Which is pretty surprising. But yeah, we're holding... Ooh, my gosh. Well, that's bad. That is... definitely bad. So I still have a bunch of stadiums. So I feel like these 2 should be my discards. I still have a bunch of stadiums left. Sure. Yep, there goes my Dedenne, so never mind. My opponent had a Weezing in his hand, so... And even gets a head slip. Alright, so we are playing handless, and my opponent has a Chip Isaac, so... If your opponent can pull this off, you're definitely in trouble, right? Definitely in trouble. Yep, nothing, literally nothing I can do about this. Literally nothing I can do about this. Top to get the Dedenne, pass. So now it comes to randomness. It comes to randomness. I do have a switch. I do have a Mars Shadow. One more Giant Hearth. and 2 Lysander Labs, right? So I have 4 cards I can top deck in order to be able to data change. So yeah, the reset stamp gave me some pretty good cards, but in doing so, it allowed my opponent to discard them, and that was a big deal. That was a big deal, and that Mars is going to hurt, because that's going to be my last Dedenne. That is going to be my last Dedenne for the day, for this game. And my opponent knew exactly what he was doing, right? My opponent very, very smartly put the Dedenne GX at the top. So now there are 5 cards left in my opponent's deck. I mean 13, sorry, 13. So I need to be careful with the Macargo, I guess. I do have 1 fire left in the deck. But yeah, we're at the mercy of the top decks. We'll just pass, no need to waste time. So yeah, this is what can happen. I don't think I did anything particularly wrong right here. It just so happens that the PG player delayed my prize on turn 1. I failed to achieve the Deoxys on Espion GX attack on turn 2. Right? Not much I can do about that. So the thing is, he doesn't necessarily have infinite Chip Isaacs. Right? That's the thing. He doesn't have infinite Chip Isaacs. Therefore, at some point my top deck will be random. At some point my top deck will indeed be random. Now he knows exactly that I have a Pokegum in my hand. Double Palpad, interesting. Double Palpad for my opponent. There's the Mars, there's the Jesse and James. There's the Surge. Recycle Energy and Cynthia. I wonder how many Chip Isaacs. Is it going to be 4? Is it only 2? There's the Mars. Retreats into the Rangaroo. Benches another one. And we'll pass. So our random top deck is the Giant Hearth. I feel like I should play it, because I have no more Dedennes left. And next turn he's definitely gonna Mars me, so I might as well get that out of the way. Power Plant now will definitely be a card that my opponent puts back. There's the first Airmail. There's the second Airmail. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, double Weezing even. Double Weezing. Didn't put back the Brock's Grit. My opponent pretty aggressively finding cards from his deck. He has 3 cards right now. He'll definitely be able to put 3 back, so no risk of the Macargo yet. And I'm not streaming, but thank you so much for the follow, Snowy. That's very kind of you. There's a Power Plant. There's a Mars, as I mentioned. So there's Hapu, I guess. Hapu is a card that could give me the win right here. Hapu is a card I can top deck that could give me the win. We shall see. We shall see. We haven't seen any custom catchers by my opponent. Perhaps he doesn't play any. Chip Isaacs, Crushing Hammer, and Palpad. Getting Palpad is like getting extra cards back. That's not a good card to get. I'm pretty sure my opponent has me under the lock. Under the full lock, and there's not much I can do about that. 3 cards left in my opponent's deck. My opponent will be able to draw all of them with the Mails. There's the Palpad, although he will be able to shuffle. So there's the double Mars. And yeah, he successfully trapped my Mewtwo Mew in the active spot. There's nothing really I can do about it. He will also have access to a Chip Ice Axe. And the only way I can get out of this is if it gets to a point where he has exactly, or there are exactly 3 cards that save me from this current situation. Or that he flips enough Crushing Hammer Tails. There's a Chip Ice Axe. Yeah, he will always know exactly what I'm top decking. Will my opponent actually choose to attack at some point? I'd be very surprised. I would be very, very surprised. Chip, Crushing, Palpad. That makes sense. And our top deck is a fabulous red challenge. The only way we might win this is if at any point we are able to top deck a Hapu that gets me a Stadium counter and a Fire Energy. If my opponent is not careful with that. I believe that is now my win condition. So my opponent needs to be able to prevent that, I would imagine. And I need that to happen before I draw my last fire. Before I draw my last fire. Well, I guess I have 5 fires on the bench Mewtwo, so Hapu can get me switch and the fire. But then can definitely prevent that from happening if he chooses to put back the Brux. So far he's not doing so though. I have a feeling he's going to be putting back the same cards. I think at some point you have to realize Mars is not that useful anymore. Double Crushing and Chip. No more Palpads. Okay, so I mean that shows up. I'm going to realize that Mars isn't that great anymore. Mars, that's fine. And then we see Chip, Crushings. Him putting the switch at the top would allow me to switch into Latios to have the access to a free retreat. Crushing my dreams is what he's doing. Alright, so this will be a 1-game video, but this is probably very similar to what the finals looked like just this past weekend. Atlantic City was not streamed. Germany was, so you guys can watch that on the Limitless site. Ooh, Chip Ice Axe and double Wheezing. I do not understand the double Wheezing. Was that a misclick? Was that actually a misclick? What? Oh. Alright. Well, this is bad news. The switch getting discarded is bad news. Ooh. Oh no, that's... Wait, what? Oh, he chose double Wheezing. Therefore I had to discard all 4 cards. Oh, wow. Alright, so it comes down to the Hapu finding me the fire and a stadium. Taking his time with this Chip Ice Axe. So now it's looking a bit more dicey. It seems like the 3 cards at the top are potentially useful. My opponent does play at least 2 power plants, probably plays more. And the cards he puts back might give us a little bit of information on what the other cards were. Nope, not quite. Chip and Crushing. The Psychic. There's no Jirachi. Right, there is no Jirachi. I mean, I wouldn't mind manually retreating-ish. Trying to. I mean, I'm one step closer to being able to use the GX attack. I have 1 fire left exactly though. Chip. When I need a Hapu. But I only play 2 Hapu, so you can always choose the other card. So I don't think I'm winning here. I don't think I'm winning unless my opponent misclicks. Yep. Unless my opponent doesn't realize the Macargo GX win condition, I'm pretty sure he's got me here. I'm fairly sure he's got me. Yeah, there's not much I can do about this. There is not much I can do about the situation. Reset Stamp, Palpan, and Chip Isaacs. Interesting, no Crushing Hammers. I guess you feel safe with that top deck. There's still 2 Hapus in there, maybe 1 if 1 is priced. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have exactly 1 energy left, like I mentioned. I would put money on no custom catchers though. So if my opponent were to let me top deck a Pokemon, I could Pokecom. I could Pokecom for the Marshadow. Never mind. Yeah, and then if my opponent runs out of time, I'll just give him the win. He's played this pretty perfectly. I guess this is the ideal that Grant or Sander would have done in the finals of each match, but if anything just goes slightly wrong, if you don't get this beautiful double Elm start right away, then that's where it starts getting a little bit troublesome, right? That's where it starts getting a bit dicey. So I'd imagine my opponent's gonna go for the Reset Stamp double Weezing play right here. I would imagine that's gonna be the case. Yep, there's a Reset Stamp. And there's my 1 of Hapu. Okay, just in case my opponent discards the wrong cards. Nope, double Weezing. Therefore, goodbye Marshadow and goodbye Hapu. Pretty nice, that's pretty broken. That is actually pretty broken. 5 cards left at the top of my deck and just no way to do anything. I still have 2 stadiums and the fire in there. Maybe the fire is priced, I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, like my opponent literally has control over what I top deck every single time. Every single time. Pretty well played. Pretty well played. So yeah, you guys got to watch a replay of the final. We've basically just been watching my opponent play, right? After draw passing ourselves. Did he put back the power plant? Yes, he did, because he knew I was going to top deck the Lysander Labs. Sure. I'm just gonna go ahead. I mean, my opponent plays Reset Stamp, and then that's the game, right? My opponent plays a Reset Stamp, which he didn't put back this turn. That would have been the game. yeah, GG, my friend. GG. That was pretty brutal for this deck. There's not much I could have done about it. My detenates were kind of not great. Had been able to pull off the Espion Deoxys a turn sooner, right? Then I would have been able to eliminate the Pidgeotto, eliminate the engine, and perhaps my opponent would have been able to do the Articuno. But after that, he would have been in trouble, right? He would have been in a lot of trouble in order to get going again, and probably between the top decks that I would have found, I would have been able to get that last couple of prizes. But alas, that was not the case. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave a like, and I'll catch you guys maybe tomorrow on a stream featuring more decks from Germany and Atlantic City and Campinas. Otherwise, I'll definitely catch you guys on a video tomorrow. Bye-bye.